Hi, and welcome to the Unorthodox Coaching podcast. Today we have my co-host, Michael Brownie.
What's going on?
And we will just be talking all things football.
Or related, yeah. First one, a pilot. How you feeling?
Yeah, not too bad, a bit different.
Yeah.
It's different to what we usually do, you know, usually 7 takes. 700, sorry, should I say.
Oh mate, don't worry about it. It happens to all of us though, if you think about it. But yeah, this is the pilot, so this is going to be like the first ever episode. This has been something that's been coming in the making.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question first. Talk to me about where this came about for you and why this.
I think lockdown's been hard on a lot of people, so to keep my mind ticking over, obviously we've had a load of conversations ourselves, and we've obviously now got the website going and everything, and podcasting something that is happening a lot more often, so I thought I wanted to do something where I can kind of speak my mind, hence the blog. And some people don't like reading, so some people just want to hear what I've got to say sometimes, or what other people that I get on the show might have to say, and they like to hear stories, just like yourself with the interview, to be fair.
Yeah, it's been something that obviously, like I said on Tactical Foul the other day, we became friends in the summer. Obviously, we probably due to before that, but we just missed each other. It's like passing ships. But yeah, we became friends in the summer. One thing's led to another. Obviously, some events have unfolded, and there's been opportunities. And yeah, you've seen the best in me, and I've seen the best in you, and we're sat here now, doing this. So, first ever creation of a podcast that's taught me to do something different again, and yeah, we're going to go on the up and up, and yeah.
Watch your space, you know.
Watch your space. What kind of things have you got planned for now? So what kind of things have you got based for the Unorthodox podcast? What kind of things do you want to do?
So for now, what we've got is we're going to talk a lot about the women's game. We're going to try and get a few people that have played in it or coaching it to come on in the future, so we can have their views on certain situations, hear my views on it as well, have a discussion, and yeah, kind of take it from there, to be honest. Today what we're going to touch on is a few things that are happening. I'm going to ask you your opinion on them. I've got my own opinion, as everyone knows. I'm the most opinionated guy in the world.
Don't get told off. Don't get told off for your opinions.
But so yeah, we're going to kick off really. Emma Hayes. That's all I can really say to begin with.
First topic, Emma Hayes out the gate. Linked heavily with the job at the males team at AFC Wimbledon. Congratulations on what would have been last night. Chelsea team beating West Ham 6-0.
West Ham.
Hey, listen. Jesse Lingard, that's all I got to say. Big up Jesse.
Women's game.
No, listen. The West Ham women. We'll touch on them at some point today. I know I've seen your running order, but well done to them for beating West Ham. They've beat them a fair few times this year, but
33 games unbeaten.
There you go. And yeah, she's obviously the standout candidate in the women's game as a women's coach. Obviously, other coaches have led the way, and other people are trying to get into that route. You know, like I know Lucia, who's going to be on the interview with Shah as well. They're both talking about coming into the men's game and about how you shouldn't fear it. So I can see sort of like both sides of it. I see your view when you're saying, it's not a step down.
No.
Like staying in the women's game isn't a step down, where some people are sort of shouting from the rooftops that she should be taking this opportunity because someone's got to start. Someone's got to be the
catalyst.
So the catalyst, or however it is. But as well, that first person's going to have the hardest time.
Oh yeah. AFC's not an easy job. They're not doing well. So she's not walking into a club that's doing very well. She's walking into a club that's currently struggling, and anyone that takes that job, to be fair, is going to find it hard to just get them back moving up the table. It's not easy.
So my question for you would be, realistically, is even if you're the best manager in the world and you go into a club, no offence, like I said, it's a professional men's team. Yeah. They're in League One. They're not bottom of the pile. They're not in League Two or no offence, like clubs in League Two. But like, she goes in there, she struggles because her players are not as good as her current players who are Champions League, internationals, and she's going to a club where there might be 1 or 2 internationals, but they're not making the grade at the highest level. So do you think that it's about she works with high class players and they make her look good, and if she went somewhere else where they're not as high class, they might not get it?
I don't think so. I think what it is, and it's very difficult, is that she goes somewhere, she has to restart. It's a restart. When you move to a new club, regardless, and she's got to have time to implement the way she wants to do things. As we know, Emma Hayes is big on getting the right people. She's turned down players that might have improved that Chelsea team tactically, but just weren't the right person. So she's going to have to go into AFC Wimbledon. She's going to have to rip it from top to bottom, start again on the foundations with what she likes, and the kind of player she wants to get in. Does she have enough time? No, because she's going to have to sign a load of free agents. She's not got the transfer window behind her where she can has time to do it. And she's going to, time, again, as I said, she's not going to have any of that to do it. It's instant success in the male game. You don't get given time. So if she can't go in and get the best out of them players that are there, that aren't her players, then that's a massive issue.
Where do you stand on so she's obviously big in the women's game. She's got scouts going everywhere in the women's game. But to make that transition over from the women to the men's game, wouldn't it sort of be like when you play Football Manager for the first time and you have an idea, but you don't know who really you can get, who you can afford, and then your scouting system's got to change from excellent ones in the women's game to, okay, well, we need a centre back, and I've never managed in the men's game, so where do I really start looking? Do you think that's another transition that you'd have to look at?
You could say that. You could just use Football Manager, mate. So many people use it, and I don't say that as a joke. You've seen it. I think Grassroots TV had Michael Johnson on the other day, and he said his son was watching the Guyanese team when he was doing the Guyanese, and he would say, "Oh, Dad, I found another Guyanese player on Football Manager," and then before you know it,
he was in his team, yeah.
The Guyanese team. So.
Boy, big shout out to those Football Manager people,
Their scouting system works. It is actually really good. So it might be a case of just everyone plays it. So it might be a case of just looking on there and seeing who's about. To be honest, but as much as we say that and we say what would you need to do to do it, I'm stuck by it. It's a step down. She's a world-class manager. You can't. There's no two ways about it. She is. She's gone 33 games unbeaten. She's got world-class players, international players. Trains at Cobham, an interlink with the club. She travels continental. AFC Wimbledon are still travelling countrywide. So it's a step down. She's not got to think about jet lag or none of that unless you're going on a pre-season tour with AFC Wimbledon. So it's a step down for her.
I think it's a it's a mixture of both, and it's one of those things you're sort of damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah, I can see that, but I think yes, there needs to be a catalyst person, and yes, Emma Hayes is probably one of the best people to do it. But it needs to be the right time. If you're going to do it, it needs to be the right time.
I think it's about transition as well.
It's not mid-season when things aren't going well. If you're going to do it, you need to have a plan in place that someone's going to come in, and it might not be Emma Hayes, it might be another manager, but you need to have a plan in place. It's going to be pre-season where they have time, and in their contract needs to be given time. You need to tell them they have X amount of time, and no club can really make that promise to anyone. We'll give you 2 years. It's very difficult to do in the game, especially if that first year of transitioning is a lot of getting out what you don't need, getting in what you do. That may mean you just avoid relegation where you should really be challenging for a promotion place.
I think if you're going to take a woman into the man's game, she's a great coach. She's a lot of things, but a lot of men in the men's game who have been in sort of the lower leagues, or they've been coaching at other teams and they're waiting for their shot, just to see someone like Emma Hayes, because she's been in a different league. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's a different gender. I'd say it's a different league. Yeah. Do you not think she needs to go and earn her stripes in the men's game first? So go and be a coach somewhere.
You're going on a different way.
But the way I see it personally, for a woman coach to come in, is for the men's game is, and it's the same in the women's game. If I wanted to, obviously my coaching journey in the women's game is different to yours because you're sort of at the pinnacle of managing. But if I want to come into the men's game, and I've done, I've managed in the men's game, but then I go and take a woman's job, Like, I need to go and earn my stripes in the women's job.
But then you say that Frank Lampard didn't earn his stripes.
But Frank Lampard has coached and went and done his coaching badges in the men's game. And all the coaches before said
but
he was doing X, Y, Z.
Coaching, you just said got the coaching badges in the men's. It's no men's game. Emma Hayes could have been on the same course.
Of course.
As Frank, or as someone even better. You know that they're all.
But towards the end of Frank's career, he was still going to coach with the under-18s.
I don't think he's earned his stripes yet. You haven't earned your stripes going into a professional game. You earn your stripes earning your way up to that.
I don't agree. People like Frank Lampard or Wayne Rooney should be given jobs straight away.
Yeah.
But there's different. And
I know what you're trying to say. Obviously, it's a main game. You know the players. You know the atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know what's around them. The women's game. You know the players you need to get in X, Y, Z. So yes, there needs to be a transition. That's why I say it needs to be at the right time, at pre-season, where it's all pre-planned that this person's going to come in, and that's never going to happen. We don't have that in the current men's game. It's literally someone gets sacked, someone comes in, someone tries to implement. You no longer, as much as some managers say, yeah, when you go into a club, you have a 5-year plan, because no managers go in with a year's plan. It's can they keep their contract, even if they're given a 2-3 year. They can.
some managers just try to get to January.
It's exactly that. But
Not like you, mate. You know, I'm beaten.
I'm beating 5 games. What can I say? Lockdown.
and I'm beaten in friendlies as well. Part 1.
Yeah, but I can't remember that game. Did we lose? Yeah, I remember that game, and then we drew against them.
Is it Gillingham?
No, we won against them. We drew against. We lost against Lewis pre-season.
Oh, there you go.
When I was configuring the squad.
I wasn't there.
And we come back. We come back and we drew 1-1 with them just before lockdown happened, the third lockdown. So, which was discussion for another day.
So, yeah, but listen, if you've lost to them in pre-season and then you've drawn with them in the league, does that not mean you've taken the right steps forward?
Yeah, but we should have won. So that's another discussion.
No, listen, I was there. But yeah, we should have won. But that's football, and that's the cliche. It's football. You don't take your chances. And like again, last night, men's game, Liverpool, Brighton. Brighton had less chances, less opportunities. But you know what? Liverpool didn't put the ball in the net. Yeah. And who won the game? Brighton, because they took their opportunity.
I didn't watch the game. I was busy travelling.
Oh, you were watching
Leicester, Bristol.
You were watching Leicester, Bristol. But obviously, look, we're here to just talk football in general, and obviously, you're more sensitive towards the women's game. You've made that choice as to go fully in depth into it. I remember, when we had this discussion at the beginning, and you said like, I've decided that as much as I like the men's game, I enjoy the men's game, and all that, but I'm now going to indulge myself in the women's. Everything for me is the women's game, and we've been to see Charlton. Obviously we kept 2 meters apart, face masks all night. Had to clean the balls. I don't know how you got ball cleaning. You wrote me into that one. But it's and obviously you watched the games yesterday. I watched West Ham yesterday because obviously. That's my team, and I think that's the only Premier League games I watch. Yeah. I haven't watched Match of the Day in about 2 years. Yeah. But just to say, like, football, no matter your gender, no matter your size, your age, it is about just taking a chance. If you nick a game 1-0 and you've only had one chance, and the other team they were shit, they had one chance. Yeah, but did you take yours? No. Yeah. Then get off the field, go and work on it, and come back.
No. I think we changed. To be fair, that Lewis game, when we looked at our games before that lockdown, we was taking, I don't even know if I should say it, we was taking 30-40 shots a game. And we was winning 2-1, 2-0 and stuff. But if you're taking 30-40 shots, you expect to score a lot more than that. But then that game, we actually went down, and I think we had more shots on target, but we only took about 15 shots, and we drew.
But they're a better side.
Yeah, they are, but if we had taken them 30-40 shots, would we have scored another one? Potentially, yeah.
You never know. Halfway line.
Different game,
Halfway line. But we're walking away. So, you think it would be a step down for her to go to...
I don't think it's the right move. I think it needs to be something similar level, and people will go, no, you can't look. If she's going to go, she needs to go to somewhere.
I agree that it would be a step down for her, because she's at a prestige club. She's winning everything.
Doesn't need to go.
You don't need to go, and the reason she's winning everything is because her team is the best. And like you said, she's turned down some players. What it really needs is what the other two women I've been talking about are doing. Get into the men's game, get in there, become coaches in the men's game, earn your way up. I think they both want to sort of go into under 18 football.
Yeah.
Then obviously reserves, under 21s, under 23s, whether it's going to be called now B teams, and then eventually be given a chance in the men's game. I think that's the best route for a female in sport.
Someone coming up in the game, someone that's not earning their stripes in the women's game 100%, I'd say, go down. If that's the route you want.
And the look of it as well is, we can sit here all day long and say, she's a great coach, but some men are just not going to take her seriously because of who. And it's I wouldn't, because obviously I know I've seen great coaches, no matter who it is, a man or a woman or someone disabled or whoever, but in the men's game, someone is going to be like that.
Yeah.
So
there is still that stigma around it that she's a woman and what can she do?
Yeah.
But I think that's where Emma's really good. I think if she was to go into the male game, they're the players she wouldn't have.
Of course.
And she'd build something where players trust her and listen. And if it means you've got someone like, for example, out of the blue, say she was at a top 4 men's club and she was able to get Ronaldo, and Ronaldo was like, look, I'm not going to listen to you while sitting down. And she signed him, she'll go. Or she was to get someone in on trial that's like, who are you? Like, what are you? Bye-bye. It doesn't matter who the player is. She'd get rid of him. I think she's bold enough and brave enough to do that.
I think that's good. So, do you think she'll ever go into the men's game?
No. I don't think she will.
No, I don't think she needs to.
No, neither do I.
But someone eventually does.
Doesn't have to be now though.
But it doesn't. Well, it has to be when the time is right for
exactly
that team and that club.
Exactly. It has to be planned properly, not just what can we do.
Was it a couple of years ago? I think it was Hope Powell that was linked with Mia Wall, wasn't she?
I can't remember who she was linked to, but yeah.
I think it was Mia Wall. Yeah, I think it was Mia Wall. And like she coaches in the men's game.
Yeah.
So, if anything, someone like her who's been coaching the men's game should probably get the first shot or opportunity.
She's at Brighton. She's Brighton women, so she's the first.
Yeah, but
she's been there. She's done that. She's been around there. She knows what she's doing. She's another one, to be fair. And I think she's bold enough as well. There's a lot of very bold and straight to the point kind of managers that could be the catalyst to make that step. It's just like we were just saying, is it the right time? It's got to be the right time, and not just for a talking point or to maybe have someone so you can be the media around it all. It needs to be the correct move. But yeah, moving on from that, from one manager to another, let's talk about Bealey. Who's gone over to Bristol City. Obviously, he was at West Ham, not doing the best over there, unfortunately, for whatever reason. We're never behind the scenes, so we can't actually see.
You know, watch the documentary.
Yeah, but we're never fully behind and see what's actually going on.
To be honest, it's probably like how West Ham's really run. Really, a bit of a circus sometimes. But again, it's sort of like all or nothing. Someone's eventually going to be filmed, and they picked Jack Sullivan, and they got behind the scenes. But sometimes it just looked like a power struggle. I remember like one of the first few episodes, one of his directors walking out on him very early. Was it a director or a chief exec or something? One of the people who was helping run the club literally walked out on him.
Didn't someone leave as well? Wasn't it?
It was one of the females.
It was
technical director. Yes, I did. Like she was the chief or technical, and she just walked out on him.
Yeah.
Because I think you said the other day as well about certain clubs, and I agree. If you own a club or you're the person running the club, get your manager in.
Let them run it.
And then once a month, one meeting.
Catch up.
How's it going? Okay.
Like you can be on the phone every week if you want, but just have a catch up. But let the manager manage. And if you own it or you're the chairman or someone, you probably need to take that step back. And it's difficult because if you look at a lot of especially the women's game, a lot of clubs now they do have people. How they've been set up is they've had a coach come in or someone's been linked to the club come in, and then they've managed to take a role. Where they're a director or part of that kind of committee, and then it becomes quite difficult because then they're still a coach, so they're still coaching or they're managing and they're part of the committee. And at what point when that happens do you get to a point where maybe you think, should someone step out and someone else step in so I can now run the club, or do I stay there? And if things aren't going well, you get rid of yourself. Highly doubt you get rid of yourself when things aren't going well. You've got to take a real big step back, a real big deep breath, and take it on the chin to say, I need someone else to take what I built forward. And some people don't like doing that.
So yeah, some people step in because they think they can do better jobs. I know a scaffold team that's like that.
I've seen it in the men's rowing game as well, where the manager stepped in, cultural and athletic happened. Paul Debris. He done all right when he was there. Look, he put money in.
It's like the Belariki guy as well.
Yeah. They put money in, and it's their money. They do what they want with it. Like, to be honest, but it's got to get to a point where you've got to be able to swallow a bit of pride and go, you know what?
We're in the wrong game.
Done the right thing.
We're in the wrong game. We're in the wrong game.
But yeah, no. Back to Beardy. He's gone over to Bristol now as an interim, obviously, and he's not done too bad, to be fair, has he?
No, he's from what looks happened is he's probably taken what he's had at West Ham, where it's been hard for him, not turmoil, but obviously things haven't gone the way he wanted at West Ham. He got them to an FA Cup final, and he done some good things. He done great things for the club. You know, he probably took them to what was the next level.
Yeah.
And then he's gone in as an interim at Bristol. Maybe it's like the shackles are off, and the players were in a good place.
Well, they were the bottom of the WSL.
I mean, like a good place mentally.
Yeah. Well, he's got in his first game. Look, he lost 4-0. It was everyone looked at it straight away and went, ooh. But you need to get your feet under the table sometimes. It was only a few days after he stepped in there. He's then obviously gone on. Next game's been postponed, I believe. Then he's got a 3-0 win against Brighton. A very good squad in the WSL, and he's gone in there. He's got a 3-0 win. So he's done something well. And then obviously last night he comes away with a 1-0 win against Leicester. Yes, Leicester are on the WSL, but they are full time and they are in the Women's Championship, top of the table. So they're potentially going to be there next year. And he's come in. He's got that 1-0 win, and now he's in the final against Chelsea. So two managers we're talking about will be facing up very soon in the Conti Cup final.
It's no contest. Chelsea will win.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a lot to beat Chelsea.
I mean, I went to the game a couple of years ago when West Ham played City in the final. Oh my God, and West Ham were getting blown away. And I think they were only 1-0 down at half time.
Yeah.
And then the second half, Manchester City came out and scored like 5.
Just one of them things, but I think sometimes it just needs a new face. Sometimes positions, and someone could be doing okay, and they've helped get a club to a certain level, but it just hits a flat line, unfortunately. And sometimes just a new face changes the whole atmosphere of everything. And that's probably what's happened there. Obviously, he's gone in, and a new face with new ideas. Don't get me wrong, he's still probably doing the similar ideas. Remember that she's only on maternity, so she'll be back.
The thing is, sometimes some managers come in and they don't change much. Like a lot of relegation managers who Premier League, Championship, League One, they say they come in, everything's already there, it's just touching up one or two things. Yeah. And then sometimes, like you say, like Alan Kirbishley at Charlton, you know, me and you are old enough to know this, like anyone who's younger than that will know. But Charlton, obviously, they were a Premier League team for many years.
Yeah.
Mid-table, always trying to push for the Europa League, and got there once, and then Kirbishley sort of decided that, you know, it was going a bit stale for him, and then unfortunately back then the club decided to get Ian Dowie in. It didn't work. It was Les Reed after that, didn't work. Alan Pardew came in a bit too late, and Kirbishley went to West Ham, and again, you know, it just shows that sometimes mediocrity is what some clubs need to be at, and other clubs, when they make the change, sometimes it's just a fresh face on the same ideas.
So, do you know what? That is it. Sometimes it is just a fresh face. Sometimes it's needed. It's someone different, with different ideas. It's difficult because everyone, when they go to a club, they want to give it their all. No one goes to a club and goes, I'm going to get this club relegated. They go to the club and they go, look, I'm going to give everything I've got, and I've seen the team, I know who I want to get in, I want to get them either promoted or I want to get them continental football, whatever it is, what you want to do. And sometimes you do that to a point, and then after that point, it's difficult to get over it. And that point might not be. It doesn't necessarily mean just because you're at that point you're not going to get continent. You could go to another club in the same league, do exactly the same thing, but that point for them, is continental football. Sometimes at that point you just need a fresh face and get someone that's new, that has, like you just said a minute ago, similar ideas. That's a little bit different, and that little tweaks here and there will change everything. It will change everything, and sometimes that's what's needed. And as I said, Bristol City aren't a bad team. They're just struggling. They were struggling a little bit. Beardy's probably come in. He's not changed much, I don't think. He's probably tweaked a few things, like we just said, and it's gone from a 4-0 where everyone's probably gone to 3-0, 1-0, we're in the final.
Yeah, and it's instant. Sometimes in football, that sort of thing happens really quickly. It's, I don't know how many days he had to train with the girls or anything like that when he first got the interim, but sometimes the first few days are not easy. You get your first game, and then after that it just takes off.
Yeah, he's doing well.
But he's been around the women's game for a long time. He's not like
well, remember he's won 2 titles with Liverpool, back to back in the 13-14 season.
There you go.
He's done it.
Was Farah there?
Yes. She was.
For those of you who are listening, Farah is England's most capped woman, and it is Carl's cousin.
Yeah.
So Carl's got that pedigree in him of being a winner.
Exactly.
Unlike me, who's got no one famous in his. I'm a trendsetter. But so for you, that's a big thing. But he's doing wonderful things. Maybe all the pressures at West Ham were just a bit too different.
Do you reckon it potentially has gone away from the football then? Because it's got the BBC.
It's got
behind the scenes.
Yeah, but look at to be honest, like I watch All or Nothing.
Yeah, I watch All or Nothing.
And so do I. But this year, the year that's just passed, they wanted to do the Giants, the Raiders, and they wanted to do someone else. And I'm a Giants fan.
Yeah.
The Giants actually refused. They said, because it creates a circus. It creates, players will act up. Players will think they can throw tantrums.
But that's it. Do you reckon that as much as yes, it's probably got a bit of cash for it being on there, do you reckon you can't be the coach or manager you need to be at times because there's potentially a camera there? And think of how it is. Like we've all been there where managers and coaches sometimes say things they shouldn't, and it happens. Like we can't get away from that. But with a camera being there, having to shy away from maybe sometimes telling a player how it really is, it could change that whole. How much control do you reckon the manager has of when and where someone can record?
Well, they'll tell them what's off limits, and they'll tell them.
Sometimes it needs to be there and then.
Yeah, but
if the camera's on, and that you need to get that message across.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a fight between. It was probably a fight between Jack and Beardy because he was saying Jack was probably the BBC was probably saying to Jack, look, we need to film this, we need to film that, and Beardy's going, well, I don't want none of that. It's X, Y, Z. But at the end of the day, who pays the bills?
Exactly that. Yeah, no. It's massive. A lot of people say equal pay, it's equal budget. You get the equal budget and equal pay comes in. Doesn't necessarily mean the player's going to be paid the same amount. It
depends on the league you're in, isn't it? You're not going to play. So Charlton Athletic, who are in the men's League One, their budget could probably do what Charlton need in the Prem.
Yeah,
in the women's game.
But what I'm saying is, when I say budget, I don't mean wage budget. I mean budget that goes towards the teams. So it's not just the wage budget. So, for example, out the blue, team X 300k, 500k, and that's the pot. That's the pot you've got. I know 500k probably way, but you've got 500k. Look, 500k men, 500k women. What you do, 100k goes towards wages. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But you've both got the equal. That's equality. How you distribute it at that point. Now, if the men's side want to use 300k for wages, that's fine. Yep. If the women's side want to use 100k, that's equality.
But that's again looking at it from the view of equality, where I'm not saying that it shouldn't be equality, but I'm trying to say is that Charlton's men's budget would do Charlton women in the Prem.
Yeah, no, they would.
And it's about, they say equal pay. Fantastic. I agree. Everyone should get equal pay, you know, you're not going to get the best players without the best budget, and you're not going to get the best players without the most money. But at the same time, your level depends on where you are. So if women's teams are looking at men's teams and they haven't got one, and they're saying, oh, well, we've got a massive budget for our women's team, but then they get a men's team at lower league, that budget's got to be small.
But then look at Lewis. Lewis are a women's championship team. And this is where, obviously, the men, if I'm correct, they don't get set their budgets before pre-season until they know what leagues each individual counterpart is in.
That's what you should do.
Because they need to know if the men get promoted, that might mean that there's more money to go elsewhere. I think into the women. Vice versa, if the women was to go WSL, there'd probably be more money for the men.
I think it depends on your league. You know, fantastic equal pay. So what you should be looking at is the level of, so if your players are at a championship level in the women's game, who's got the highest budget? And then you look at, if your men are in whatever league, you just design their budgets around that. I think a lot of things are quality-wise, like, so they should get the same media coverage.
100%.
I know obviously you've got the FA Player, which plays most of the women's games for free, which is great. If not, you know, lots more women's teams than men's have got VO, or they've got some sort of film your game.
But most of the games, even if they're not an FA Player, you can watch them back, because what happens, I think the club sends them the footage anyway, so it goes on to the FA Player where you might not be able to watch it on live, but you can watch it the next couple of days.
You can watch it in the next couple of days, which is great. But I think the women's game needs equality as in coverage.
100%.
Because the only way you're ever going to get equality is, look, money is great. It's not a be all and end all, because you can make more money with the coverage.
Let's go with what one of our players, Lou Hembra, said the other day. She wants to be a professional footballer. That's one of her goals. However, she knows that can't be a long-term goal, so she's having to do like uni and having to do everything. And realistically, as much as she wants to be a professional footballer, if that come on the table and she had that offer, and then she had an offer of a job paid more, everyone wants to be a footballer, and everyone would say, yeah, I'll play for free. But you need to look at your lifestyle as well. You need to be honest, and you need to be like, do I take a job that actually pays me what I need to live, or do I take it to live a dream? And sometimes it needs to be sustainable, where players can just play and not have to worry, do I need... Now, don't get me wrong, everyone knows your career can end with a tackle. So you need something to fall back on. And I love that part. And that's probably where America gets it so right, is that they don't get drafted until they've got their degrees through uni and everything.
Of course.
They've got the right education. So right. And then after that, they can get drafted, or they can put in to be drafted earlier. That's perfect. But make it sustainable. So a female that wants to be a pro can be a pro and not have to worry, I might need another job if I don't get injured. Because as much as there's a lot of pros out there, look, so pros out there on 20k, that's not a lot when you think about it. There's people out there on more money. Yeah, they're playing football.
I think sometimes media coverage is what wins you more than saying, all right, so your club can pay you X, Y, Z, but most players make more money off shoe deals,
They don't get many deals. That's
it. And that's what the women's game needs. They need more coverage to get them pushing through.
Jill Flaherty from West Ham the other day was like, I've never been sponsored for my boots. Like, she played for international football.
There you go.
Maybe not as much as she wanted to, but she's a West Ham captain. She's
played for
been
Chelsea,
there,
hasn't she?
Chelsea, Arsenal. She's been there, and she's never had a sponsor.
And that's down to not getting enough coverage. So I think, fantastic. Pay them what they need. Make sure the budgets are right. Make sure it's sustainable. But let's give them more coverage. Like, I know that the main reason I first came down to you was coverage.
Yeah.
And then obviously we've gone up. I'm allowed to do more stuff now.
Yeah.
I'm very interactive, and I'm doing my own thing here and there.
Yeah.
But the first thing we spoke about was coverage. What can I do? So we're sitting here doing a podcast, but it's about coverage. And I think they need as much coverage as the men. If not, they need that little bit more at the minute.
Yeah.
And the clubs need to sort their media out so that they're distributing it equally, but they're also pushing.
I think there are some clubs doing that. There are some clubs that are pushing their media similar. Like, it's difficult because we don't know who runs what.
Of course.
But Man United women, their media is pretty decent, and they're 2-3 years old. So they're doing well. Chelsea's media, very good.
And see,
but they're integrated, so they've probably got someone that's
Man City, Arsenal used to do that.
It's the top clubs that are doing well.
But it's about everyone, and for anyone listening to this podcast or watching us on YouTube now, anyone that just wants to get into like the side of this, so like videography, photography, doing those sort of things helps clubs massively.
Oh yeah.
Like I can tell you just by this year alone, and by coverage of I did Cray earlier on in the year, which got me into with you guys, but it's given a lot of our players coverage. Like some of the players are getting highlights videos now, which is something that they probably never get, and some of them have got agents, and their agents have taken the videos that I've done for them, and they're shooting up.
Yeah.
So I think as much as it's about equal pay, it's also about equal coverage.
I 100% agree. There needs to be better coverage, and not just for the first teams, for younger teams as well. Because look, if you put in the younger teams on a platform, yes, the worrying side is you may lose them. That is a worrying side. But know that you've built a good enough reputation with them and good enough rapport that when clubs come in, you can sit down and have a conversation and know that clubs may stick around. That the players may stick around. Look, if they go, then you've done your job anyway, because your job as a coach is obviously, especially in the women's game at the moment, it's not about just selling players. It's about making the best possible player you can make. So if you were, for example, a tier 3 side playing National League, and you've got this girl and she's been with you since she was 7, she's now got in the first team at 16, 17, and then she goes on to a WSL Championship club. Yeah, it's annoying, but you've done your job.
And also as well, you're teaching them in media senses as well to deal with, because some players will jump up and they've never had the interviews, they've never had someone take photos of them, they don't know how to react, and there's pressure of a camera on them.
But that's where
doing it slowly and introducing it slowly is they just become more
In the boys' game, it happens all the time. They have media training.
Of course.
They have media training, especially at academy level, because they're preparing them for when they get to kind of under 21s and first team level. They're ready to go in front of potentially a Sky or whatever camera and be able to go. If they scored a hat trick on their debut, they're going to be there. You can't get away now. He's 16. He can't do it. Come over it. Look, he's going to be on that camera, and he's going to be going. So it's about making sure that you give them the correct.
So before we move on to the last thing, Charlton being integrated with the men's side, good thing or bad thing?
Great thing.
Great. I think it's great as well. And for Thomas Stuttgart, who's taken the club from the men's club first out of the
they was in.
Yeah, sort of the despair, because Bowyer was doing a great job. He got them up, and he had a turmoil season. He could have left maybe 2 or 3 times. Yeah. He didn't. They went down on the last day, and now they've gone down. I've got to say, and they're struggling. For me, I'm not the person that's going to sit there and tell you if Bowyer deserves to keep his job or not. I'll leave that to Charlton fans, because
it's not even Charlton fans' choice. Like Charlton fans can have the choice they want him to go. Look, he's building something.
Eventually, Charlton fans will have the last say, because they'll be the ones that.
But you need to understand, he's a manager that stayed with us during a time where he could have easily gone, yeah, I'm out here. But he stuck through the hard times.
Sometimes it just doesn't work out, and it's down to him as an owner with his directors and his chief execs to say, look, we really put this as far as we can. It's great for them to get involved and buy and get the women's team back, because the women do everything at the training ground anyway.
Yeah, it's all
one big club already. So bring it all in house.
Yeah.
And show that
it's only going to be good. It's going to be good. I can't wait to see.
Club reputation is going to get bigger.
I can't wait to see the changes.
So when you're going to get women's teams on Football Manager?
People do it. People do it now. I had it last year.
What, we're on databases, yeah? No, bruv, I can't tell you. You'll be signing everyone. I won't. Listen. Football Manager. No, I can't be letting.
To be honest, I can't play the women's databases because it's not realistic. As in, and I'm sorry for those that make the databases. They're great databases. The realism of the amount of money that players are worth and stuff, because they've got players, because they don't change. Some of them don't change. I haven't played them recently. I tried it before, but I had a player worth 7.5 mil. I'm sorry, it's not realistic to me. It needs to be as realistic as possible, and that means potentially getting a load of free players that will just transfer between clubs on amateur contracts and stuff. And
that's what it is, really.
Players worth what they're actually worth, and a realistic budget of how much you're going to pay them. Look, for it to really work, FM need to get involved properly. I doubt it's going to happen.
I mean,
it's a lot more scouting for him. And it's a bit. It's a lot that goes into a database.
I did FM last year database on Metrogas, and it was from the Kent County League.
Yeah.
But to be honest, they went up a different route because you obviously from the Kent County you go to Skeffel, and they went to Skeffel Div 1 and 2. But when they got out of Skeffel Prem, they went to some other Southeastern league, which wasn't where they went to go. They went to go to like the East.
The databases are great. People that make them up, it's got. Like, I've got loads of time for that. It's big. I love it. I'm
not moving off my team now.
But for the women's one, FM need to get involved properly. But I understand everything that goes on behind the scenes and how hard it is just to create that database. As small as it may be to begin with, that start is massive.
I mean, they're in FIFA now. But obviously, I don't play FIFA. You don't play FIFA. But
I did though. I did do stuff. Yeah.
But it's mad. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, great.
Moving on.
Yeah, I think that's we're nearing the end of the podcast, but the last thing that we're kind of going to go on to and something we're going to try and do at the end of every podcast is the final challenge.
Your final challenge today, yeah, with the girls.
So the final challenge today.
So today we had Lou Hepburn,
and B Hembra, so sisters, and
just putting out there which one's more techie.
Which one's more techie? Both of them got tech.
No. Say what listen, I got footage that says something different. So say what you were saying on the pitch.
Under pressure, B. Without pressure, Lou without pressure is techie, you know.
So obviously, for anyone that is listening to us now and they're not watching on YouTube, when the people that are watching on YouTube, obviously you're looking at us now. I know we're ugly people, but I mean, you'd rather just listen to the podcast. But if you go on the podcast, go over to YouTube, watch the challenge. It's Carl taking on the other two as well, Lou and B. Some surprising results.
Nothing but net, basically. Nothing but.
The challenge is called Nothing But Net. But this is, like we said, today has been the pilot. So it's, we've strayed off topic a lot today. We've obviously not got the right backdrop yet. And we haven't got Unorthodox everywhere. We have got it on the corner, as you can see, on YouTube. And if you listen to us on the podcast, we will have more than one mic next time. So if it is a bit low. But this is the start. We have to start somewhere. But go and watch the challenge. We'll get it going. And for anyone who doesn't watch it, then we're not going to tell you until we start.
You can just guess who wins.
No.
That's all I'm going to say.
At the end of every podcast, we're going to tell you the challenge. You're going to go to YouTube. And we'll tell you the result in the next podcast. That way, it gives you something to look forward to if you haven't taken the time to go to YouTube. And so the first official podcast will be coming back soon. Not going to follow a standard format. We're hoping, I don't know what you're hoping for, but I was sort of hoping to do like what we discussed, which was see someone, go and see them coach and train, talk to them about that, and sort of move on from there. So it's more interactive. You're going to be able to listen to us on the podcast. It's going to be great. But also as well, we want you to look on YouTube to look at how these coaches do things. It's going to be a lot more of the women's game than it will be the men's game, but we will always touch into the men's game because
that's how we do it.
That's how men's.
But yeah, it's a podcast with a twist. So today's been us sitting down chatting. But as Brownie just said, got to be out. They're going to have the cameras on people. We're going to see how people do things in their own environment. We're going to try and get them in as well, so we can sit down, have a chat, and it's going to be different. It's going to be different. I've got to be unorthodox.
I mean, Cole is unorthodox, but yeah, just it's going to be something good, and we hope to see you soon or hear from you soon if you're listening to this. Leave some comments. You can find Carl Davey on Twitter
at Coach K Davey. And you can find Michael Brownie on Twitter at
BS Sports. So if you want to drop us a line, if you have listened to it, we're obviously going to send this to all the people in our contacts. So we're going to get a lot of spam. But big shout out to some people as well, just to touch on Tactical Foul. My Tactical Foul, you already done one, it's already online. So if you go on YouTube or if you want to follow him on the pod, great. My one's come out today. Be careful because, I'm not as coachy as the others.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm still.
I saw you watching bits of it earlier. But people like Tactical Foul, Celtic Podcast, they do bits. Grassroots, the Amateur Footballer, another guy that does big things. Your boy Covey.
Yeah. There's a few names that I'm looking to get on, so we can see. But yeah, it'll be done in time, you know. It'll be done in time. I don't want to give no a call out just yet.
And this isn't going to be weekly. It's going to be episodical.
It's going to be done episode by episode.
Yeah, so you're gonna get seasons. You're not gonna get like, we're not trying to step on people's toes where they're weekly and they're great. We're just gonna do episodical. Yeah, and that's been the Unorthodox podcast for the first time. I've been Michael Brownie.
I've been Carl Davey.
And hopefully we'll see you soon, and always think outside the box.
Right, baby, you're up. Let's move.
And she's done it.
She's absolutely crisped it.
1-0 B.
Crisped it.
Comeback king. Oh look, Carl's involved as well. He's gone for the camera. He's knocked the camera over.
Under it, but I know how to hit it now. Got it. Got it now. I know how easy it was. It's just like that, more power.
B doesn't even work. Like, it's a brick roof there.
1-0 B. Ready? Come on, B, you're up.
Lee, what one? First.
Oh,
He's on point right now. You've got a clear winner. No, and that's like it. You can't win against me now. I need to hit just to even consider it.
I went for a phone.
That's a net, definitely.
If I...
You get last one, my last one.
Do you hit it straight or...
So is it still 1-0?
It's got to be your biggest opponent. You've got to try to hit it straight as possible.
So I'm going to have this up later.
Oh,
Going for a hattie, yeah?
It's got to be. She wins it. I don't even need my last
I'm going to have all three of your faces up later on the YouTube thing.
I don't even need
And be like, ding!
She hits it.
When she scores, it's going to get a ding. Ah.
She's got a chance.
Oh.
Means I've got a chance. Oh, I dropped it!